Okay, get ready to launch into Alastair Reynolds' Revelation space because we're diving deep into a universe where abandoned Earth is just the beginning, and ancient alien civilizations might hold the keys to existence itself.
It's not just a wild ride, though. Reynolds masterfully uses this intricate plot to explore really complex themes like how far is too far in the pursuit of knowledge.
Right. Imagine curiosity leading you to a truth that could unravel everything. But let's back up for a second and make sure our listener is totally prepped for this journey. What's the basic setup in Revelation space?
Imagine a future where humanity has spread to the stars, but Earth is a desolate wasteland. Against this backdrop, we meet three incredible characters on a collision course.
And these aren't your typical space opera heroes, right? Give us the rundown.
First, you've got Dan Sylvestre, an archaeologist obsessed with a long-dead alien civilization known as the Amarantan. He's not just digging for artifacts. He believes their extinction holds a secret that could explain the very meaning of existence.
Okay, that's way more intense than your average archaeology project. So where does the spaceship captain fit into all of this?
That's Ilya Volyova, captain of a ship with the most amazing name ever, Nostalgia for Infinity. Now, Volyova needs Sylvestre's help because her captain is dying from a bizarre nanotech plague.
Nanotech plague. What does that even look like? Is it contagious?
Imagine a sickness that attacks at the most basic level, rewriting your very cells. It's as if the ship itself is sick, and it's slowly consuming the captain. There's a real sense of urgency because time is definitely not on their side.
That's a terrifying thought. And then there's the third character in this cosmic equation, the assassin, right?
Exactly. Anakuri, a former soldier turned assassin, is hired to kill Sylvestre. And of course, nothing is simple in Revelation space. She soon finds herself caught in the same web of mystery and danger as the others.
Okay, so we've got a dying captain, an obsessed archaeologist, and an assassin. Where do they all intersect?
They're all drawn to a planet called Resurgam, a world shrouded in secrets and harboring remnants of the Amarantan civilization. Reynolds masterfully uses this converging timeline, so as the characters get closer to Resurgam, we're also piecing together the events of the past.
So it's like those puzzle piece narratives where the truth is revealed bit by bit, keeping you on the edge of your seat?
Precisely. And trust me, the truth about the Amarantan and this lurking menace known as the Inhibitors will leave you questioning everything.
Inhibitors. That doesn't sound promising. What are they exactly?
Imagine a force that's been shaping the galaxy for millennia. A civilization so advanced that they see any sufficiently developed society as a threat, and they're not afraid to eliminate that threat.
Okay, now we've gone from unsettling to downright terrifying. So how do our characters even begin to grapple with something like that, especially with everything else going on?
That's the heart of Revelation space, isn't it? Reynolds throws these characters into impossible situations and forces them, and us as readers, to confront the true cost of progress.
And he doesn't shy away from exploring those big questions about humanity's place in a vast and often indifferent universe. This is one of the reasons Revelation Space is more than just a sci-fi adventure, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's a story that stays with you long after you finish the last page. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's talk more about these characters because they're anything but one-dimensional. For example, Sylvestre. He's brilliant, but driven by this insatiable need to know, even if it destroys him.
He's like that classic tragic figure, blinded by his own ambition in a way. It makes you wonder, how much are we willing to sacrifice in the pursuit of knowledge?
And what about Volyova, our captain? She's tough, pragmatic, but her loyalty to her crew is constantly tested. Throughout the story, she's forced to make these impossible choices that challenge her morals and push her to the brink.
It's like she's caught between a rock and a hard place, with the weight of her crew's lives on her shoulders. And what about Kuri, our assassin? What makes her tick?
Kuri is fascinating because she's wrestling with her own past, with the consequences of her actions. Her journey in Revelation space is one of redemption, of questioning the very nature of right and wrong.
It sounds like all three of these characters are on these deeply personal journeys, even as they're getting pulled into this larger galaxy-spanning conflict.
Exactly, and it's that interplay between the personal and the cosmic that makes Revelation space so compelling. But let's dive deeper into their individual stories because each one is a masterclass in character development. Take Sylvestre, for example.
Okay, so we've got Sylvestre, our archaeologist obsessed with knowledge. Volyova, the captain, balancing pragmatism with moral quandaries, and Kuri the assassin on a path of redemption. It's a complex mix, and it gets even more complex when you consider the setting.
Right. Reynolds creates this truly immersive world filled with spaceships that are almost characters themselves, like Nostalgia for Infinity, which is this massive, gothic, decaying behemoth of a ship. It's a testament to his ability to blend hard science with a touch of gothic horror.
I'm picturing a haunted mansion floating in space, and that's just one element. There's the desolation of Earth, which you mentioned earlier, and then there's Resurgam, this planet teeming with secrets. It's like he's taken all these sci-fi tropes and woven them into this tapestry that's both familiar and utterly unique.
Absolutely. And that's not even getting into the technology that Reynolds introduces.
Yeah.
Think of the nanotech plague. It's not just a cool sci-fi concept, it's a force that literally changes the very fabric of reality.
Hmm.
Then there's the Amaranthins technology, which is so advanced it almost seems like Mantic Reynolds uses these concepts to explore the dangers of unchecked technological advancement and how it can outpace our understanding of morality.
Which brings us back to the inhibitors, right? They're like the ultimate cautionary tale about the consequences of progress.
The inhibitors are like a cosmic watchdog, preventing civilizations from reaching a level of development that they deem threatening. They're a constant reminder that we're not alone in this universe and the universe might not have our best interests at heart.
So it's like we're looking at a cosmic catch-22 where reaching a certain point of technological advancement is seen as a danger, even though it could be the key to solving some of our biggest problems.
Precisely. And that's where Revelation Space really gets fascinating. It challenges us to think critically about the very nature of knowledge and progress. Are we pursuing knowledge for its own sake, or are we aiming for something more?
It's like a giant philosophical puzzle box, and every time you think you have an answer, Reynolds throws in another curveball.
Yeah.
But speaking of the universe, we can't forget how it's all connected.
Right. Think of all the threads of the plot, the characters, the themes, even the setting. They all weave together into this complex and interwoven tapestry. And that's what makes Revelation Space so compelling. It's not just a sci-fi book. It's a journey of discovery.
A journey where the stakes are high, the possibilities are endless, and the questions are always more important than the answers. But let's go back to our listener for a moment. They're reading Revelation Space for the first time. What's one thing they should keep in mind?
I'd say embrace the journey. Reynolds takes his time building the world and introducing the characters. It's not a quick read, but it's a rewarding one.
It's like he's saying, relax, enjoy the ride, and let the story unfold. It's a marathon, not a sprint, and be ready to question everything.
Exactly. Revelation Space is a book that stays with you. It makes you think about the universe, humanity, and our place in the grand scheme of things.
And that, I think, is the ultimate takeaway. You might not get all the answers, but you'll come away with a deeper understanding of the questions. So we've explored the plot, the characters, and the themes, but there's one element we haven't really touched upon. What about the ending?
Ah, the ending. It's a bit of a doozy.
No spoilers, but it's going to blow our listeners' mind.
Let's just say it leaves you with more questions than answers.
Yeah.
It's not a neat and tidy conclusion, but it's a powerful one.
So it's that kind of ending that sticks with you long after you finish the book, prompting you to ponder the possibilities. It's like Reynolds is opening a door into a whole new realm of thought. So we've touched on the big themes, the price of knowledge, the dangers of unchecked advancement, and humanity's place in this vast universe. But what's the overall message of Revelation Space that we should be taking away?
I think Reynolds wants us to question our own motivations. Why do we seek knowledge? What are we hoping to find? And what are we willing to sacrifice along the way?
It's a bit of a cosmic moral dilemma, isn't it? We're caught between wanting to understand the universe and the potential consequences of that understanding. But for our listener, they've finished Revelation Space. They've delved into this complex world of spaceships, aliens, and existential questions. What's the one thing they should be pondering as they walk away from the book?
I think it's about the limits of human knowledge. Just because we can explore the universe doesn't mean we're prepared for what we might find. There might be mysteries that are best left unsolved, realities that are too dangerous to comprehend.
Whoa, that's a heavy thought to leave our listeners with. It's like a reminder that we're still on this journey of discovery, even when we think we've reached the end. It's like the universe is constantly pushing us to think bigger, to explore further, to question more.
And to be cautious, to be aware of the potential consequences of our actions. Revelation Space is a story that reminds us that knowledge is power, but it's also a responsibility.
Exactly. And that's what makes Revelation Space so impactful. It's not just a fun sci-fi adventure, it's a thought-provoking story about the nature of humanity, the universe, and the journey of understanding.
It's a journey that's worth taking, even if it's a bit unsettling along the way.
Well, listeners, sounds like we've reached the end of our deep dive into Alastair Reynolds' Revelation Space. But the conversation doesn't have to stop here.
If you've got thoughts, theories, or maybe even some existential dread after listening, be sure to share them in the comments below.
And if you